I always look at it like, yeah, I was close to Craig.
Selfish.
I was close to Craig, but like my cousin's just like, this was his best friend. Fuck getting a haircut. It's like, this is his man. So, yeah.
I use the bathroom. My bad.
Welcome back to another episode of Understanding People. We have our beautiful guest Jessica, Wayne. We have our new guest Dominique. We got Malik, of course. You already know he's about to be a headache. First and foremost, I want to say, Dominique, thank you for entertaining the idea of joining our show today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. I understand that you're a friend of Malik's.
Yes.
Oh, my cousin.
Oh, excuse me. If you don't mind me asking, how long you guys been?
I've known of her my entire life because our moms are like this.
Okay.
But I guess we've known each other for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So we've known of each other our entire lives, but known each other for like 5 years.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, we got Wayne back for a second week. You're so dry and so still and ready to just get the combo, you know. Loosen up, man.
And you called Jess a guest. Jess is a host, B. She been
I'm sorry.
She been here 6 weeks.
One day.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
6 weeks.
My fault. Jess is the whole. But you know what? She got a makeup line she about to take off with, so it's like we kind of trying to hold on as much
We
as
gotta
we can.
tag her now, though. That's
Yeah.
why the host, and she can't go nowhere.
About to get
Jess, she might not come back next week.
That's so special.
She started to go out to shit all week like that nigga called me a guy. This nigga crazy.
That's definitely my apologies, man. I don't need to get beat up by her or the cameraman. Shout out to Naj. But of course, as we do every week, we like to start off with our high and lows of the week. Malik, being that we have a new guest, I think you should start it off just to give an example of how we do it.
Alright. So my high for the week is that I had our meeting. I showed up to our podcast meeting on Wednesday. I believe that was a good high for me this week. And then my low for the week, I lost a family friend, kind of like family, a barber, but that's like an understatement for when he wasn't around. So, yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
So my high for the week, I killed my event this past week all by myself. And then my low for the week was the prep to kill that event.
What kind of event was it?
It was a fundraising event.
Okay.
So I worked for City Meals on Wheels as their event producer.
It's called Sitting Wheels on Wheels?
City Meals on Wheels.
Sitting Meals on Wheels,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Shout out to Sitting Meals on Wheels. No, seriously, man, we want to promote you as much as possible as well.
Thank you.
That's what's up, dog. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Definitely. How about you, Wayne?
I guess my high of the week is I have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off. So it's 5 days. I got to chill.
So you got a job?
Yeah.
That's a lot. I just wanted to make sure make that clear.
Yeah, that's a lot. Can I get that? Shit.
What day you gonna get paid, man?
You didn't say the PTO part. We need that.
And just a little bit before that though, it was crazy. Like the emergency room was crazy. So like I was like stressed out, but you know, we got through it. I'm here now, and I got 5 days off from the road, so I'm chilling.
Nothing against you, bro. How about you, Jess?
Well, my high was I was able to do makeup for a commercial that's coming.
Let them know.
This Christmas season. I can't say what the company is. You guys will know after, but that was a great experience for me, and that's going to be
Congratulations on that.
starting off more TV spots in the future. So,
You heard that? You heard
fingers
that?
crossed for that.
She ain't gonna just be with us, but you know, TV.
Just make sure you call her a host so we got her.
And my low, I foolishly slipped down my flight of steps and bruised myself. So she hurting a little bit, but you know, I'm linked to all my clients as much as I can.
Nah, I definitely hope you get better from that, but congratulations to you as well.
Thank
Seriously.
you.
It seems like the females on the show, women on the show, are doing a lot better than we are in life.
Why you change that? That's a thing?
That's
Yeah.
a topic for another show.
Some
It
people
is.
don't like to be referred to as female.
Okay.
So I hope you guys forgive me. I'm still learning the process with that.
It's like new rules every day.
Yeah, I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck about
like they reaching rules.
it. They do. They reach a lot.
But you gotta give them that respect.
Wait, y'all serious? This is like
No, that's
like,
the thing.
We will talk about this later.
Ah.
It's gonna be a whole thing.
But my high of the week is I just came back from a light fest in Pennsylvania. But
You guys are so cute together.
thank you, I appreciate
Grand
that.
shit.
I did. When I show you the shit I actually did was bug the fuck out. It was a light fest in PA. It was really nice. Like you light the lanterns and fly in the air. It's like thousands of people. And my low of the week, that was with my fiance. My low of the week is also with her. We argued over cleaning buckets and shit. And for some reason I got a cleaning object hit. You know what? I ain't gonna go there. It was a low of the week, but we got through it.
Sound a little domestic, you know, right?
The apartment clean now. we cleaned up a lot and all that. But nah, that's definitely my high and low of the week. But it's funny. Well, it's not funny, but you touched upon something with your low, which kind of deals with today's topic.
Yeah.
But which is dealing with death. Sorry to hear about that. You mind telling us like what happened, who it was, if you want, you don't have to be surprised.
Yeah, so it was my barber. The reason I said it was an understatement is because he grew up with my two like really close cousins who kind of like my brothers.
Okay.
So they grew up in the same building. So he's known them since they were like kids, and the person who died's younger brother is best friends with my cousin. So not only did I see him once a week or once every other week, he's also family. So he's at every family event. He's at my aunt's funeral. Like he's like more than, and this is like 20 years, 15 years. For me, because I'm 24, it's 15 to 20 years. For them, it's basically like 30, 40 years. Yeah, died at 44. Rest in peace, Craig.
Rest in peace to you.
Yeah.
Blessings, prayers to his family. Seriously, that's crazy. It's funny because when you're not in a situation, it's easy to talk about. But now that you're actually dealing with it, it's like there's only so much I can honestly say to you right now. It's crazy.
But it's crazy because it opens my eyes because it was the day of my father's birthday. So one person in my life is celebrating. My boss lost her uncle, so we both grieving. And then it was like a day that we got like I don't want to say business deal, but something got approved that we've been waiting to get approved. So it's like the entire day was like a funky day.
Yeah.
And it was just like, but we're here now.
Yeah. Damo, have you had any deaths that hit close to home, whether recent or a while ago?
So surprisingly, I have never dealt with any type of traumatic death in my life. My grandparents are both, God bless them. My grandfather is 94. My grandmother is 92, 91 actually. Sorry. And everybody I know is in like amazing health. So I've never dealt with anything that has really hit close to home. I've known, friends from high school that have passed, but we weren't that close, or, we fell out. So, it hurt, but nothing as, traumatic as what Malik has described. So
that's actually a blessing. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I pray it continues that way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How about you guys, Wayne, Jess, whichever one's going to go first? You go first.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. With me, nothing super traumatic, like she said. I still have the individuals who are like immediate and close, who are like who have immediate influence in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's key. Back in March, I probably lost my aunt, and we were like so close.
Yeah.
So it kind of like it didn't like really super touch down and really affect me too deep, but I'm definitely blessed to not have experienced that super like
Close.
because that's scary.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, because that changes the whole dynamic of how you think sometimes.
Very much so.
So, but yeah.
I mean, the same thing what you guys have been saying. Like, I've dealt with it when I was younger. So if I think about those people, then of course it brings some type of sadness.
Yeah.
But it's not as if someone who I've known now, people who are close to me now, that would be a whole different level of grieving and sadness.
So you feel like that time in between is like that person that died when you were younger, it doesn't hit the same as it would probably.
No.
Yeah, okay.
So like you still remember how things happen, why things happen, but of course you being a child, it's like, oh, this person is not here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like as an adult you understand the finality of, or the possible finality of death.
Nah, it's crazy. It's funny hearing that because I've dealt with many of deaths like throughout my life, whether it be like I lost like a god brother a few years ago. I lost a coworker this is, you know, when you at work, you with somebody damn near every day, it's more than you are at home. I lost a coworker maybe a year and a half ago, and like throughout my life, I lost a lot of people, like whether it be family, whether it be close friends. But I don't want to say I got used to it, but at the end of the day, it doesn't shock me anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'm scared of death anymore. And I used to be like terrified of it, you know what I'm saying? I just think that like now I'm at the point where I just try to enjoy life as much as possible, and if it was to come, just face it head on, you know what I mean? Things like that. But I am grateful that you guys haven't really experienced it too much, because I don't know if my mindset is the wrong mindset. I don't know. You know what I mean? I just try to tackle life head on, you know what I mean? But I don't try to live in fear with that.
It's crazy because that was my perspective till like 7 days ago. It's crazy because it was like I lost a friend who was like close to me to suicide, but it was like he was my friend in like 6th grade, and then I went to boarding school and everything. So we had grown apart, but that was like my brother, and it was all good. But it wasn't like my immediate, you know, circle. And it's crazy to say my barbers in my immediate circle, but if you think about how much you see your barbers, like once a week, once every other week, like.
You never realize how close somebody is to you, know what I mean?
Yeah, and then it was like I wrote in my Instagram caption.
Oh, did you know? Did you
For the
know?
record, he doesn't use Instagram.
Yo, it was so good, and it was like I texted a friend and I was like, yo, I don't even be on Instagram. So I kept myself accountable to the standard of what I be saying on the show.
Yeah.
But it was like I just had to like express myself. It was like I didn't, and like not that my mom was insensitive, but like that day she was like, so what you gonna do about your haircut? And I was just like, yo, like. What? Like right now?
That's what you can think of?
Yeah, like that's the first thing that came to your mind. So it's like, damn, but so like Instagram allowed me just to say what I want in a complete thought. And it allowed me to be like, yo, I wasn't, not aware, but I wasn't like conscious of like how much value he had. And it's like, you know, you talk to, as men, I don't know about women necessarily with their hairdressers, but as men, like, you go in there for advice, you argue about sports, like, you talk about the women in your life, you talk about everything, just because it's like, this person, he's not that he's not invested, but it's unbiased. Yeah, it's like, yo, he's kind of your age, sitting there for 45 minutes, it's just like, I don't know, so it was just like the fact to lose someone that close that I would never even think would affect me so much. It was like...
And I think that's where it tackles, like, that's where it hits right there. It's so unexpected. Because when somebody dies, we always be like, damn, him or her, like, you're not even expecting it. Because you think that it could never really happen. Because it's not something we deal with every single day. So I get what you mean on that aspect. But I think that we need to have more conversations about death. And, like, in life, which is kind of ironic. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know that you haven't experienced it as much, but how do you feel you would cope with somebody, like, dealing with somebody close to you passing?
I feel like I would be an emotional wreck, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I feel like if somebody close to me were to pass, especially, I think one of the things is, like, so Craig, he passed away of a stroke. And it was just abrupt. It was like nobody was expecting it. He wasn't sick. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't planned. But I think, like, when you have somebody that's sick or something like that, you know, it's a little bit easier to cope with it. Like, okay, well, we've been expecting this a little bit. But when it's so abrupt, I don't think there's any way to really describe what you would do. I think in the moment, it's best for your emotions to just take over for a little bit. And I think that's healthy for your emotions to just take over for a bit, whether it be for a day or be it for a week, but really letting it settle in, you know.
With that being said, it's funny because before we started to record the show and everything, we were outside, and Malik said something like, if he cries, you feel like that's selfish.
Not that if I cry, but it's like the idea of why I'm crying. It's selfish. It's like, yo, I was with Craig an hour a week, 2 hours per 2 weeks, I guess. You know what I mean? The most some days, an hour and a half. So it's like, yo, people suffer in life. Like, people go through shit. People be in pain, broke, going through this, going through that. Then women, like, so maybe he was in pain or going through suffrage, because that's what life is. You're gonna go through shit and obstacles. So the fact that I'm like, please come back and spend an hour with me of the week when the other aspects of your life may have not been great. So it's like, it's selfish for me to be like, please come back, or I'm gonna miss you so much, you being here for the hour of my week, when you died of a stroke. Clearly there was something wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you were in pain outside of Malik's world.
I think that's a a good statement, because life is suffering, but I think it's dangerous to say that crying is selfish, period. Just because you're crying, maybe because, you know, you want him back, but also just the fact that he's gone in general. So that's just a coping mechanism for you. And to, you know, suppress that or say, you know what, I'm not going to cry because it is selfish is detrimental to you and your mental health.
But in my ideology,
hold on one second.
Yeah.
I want Jess to chime in too, because you guys have a similar opinion. And outside, you said that you was like, you made a joke of it. You was like, man, ain't that
I gotta cry.
Yeah, it's really not.
I'm coming from a psych background.
Yeah.
So yes, there's the one side of it is selfish for you to think what this person meant to you, but also for your psyche, the person did mean something to you. So you have to heal within yourself to be okay to move forward, to say, yes, I'm going to mourn this person because they did mean something in my life.
Absolutely.
And then I'm going to carry on because that person would want me to live a fulfilling life because their life ended at this point.
Absolutely.
So you can understand that, yeah, you're not putting a woe is me spin on it. It's like, I need to validate the fact that I miss this person. So it's not a bad thing to say that. But if you don't grieve, then later on, it's going to affect and trickle into other things. You might become angry. You might become aggressive in different fashions of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think that maybe, because to me, like I said, I'm going to stay on the line. It is selfish, but maybe it would just help me not grieve for so long. So I did cry. I'm not saying that I was in a crib like macho man, but I cried, but it was just like, yo, why are you crying?
Yeah.
What is it that you're, why?
Because that person meant something to you.
But it was like, but in my belief, whether you believe in reincarnation, whether you believe in going to heaven, whatever it is, they're in a better place now, so I should celebrate that.
Yeah,
I shouldn't.
But you can celebrate as well as
exactly grieving the part of they're no longer here,
Yeah.
and then later on it becomes into appreciating that they might be someplace else that's better off for them. It's the steps in the grieving process that brings you there, but you can't skip A to get to Z.
It's like, for example, like we do this show every week. If it turns out one of us isn't here no more for good, and we talking about not living anymore, it'll affect you in a crazy way.
But in my belief, I guess we would have to talk about each other's beliefs, but in my belief and my family's belief is like, these people go to heaven. Like, these people are like, okay.
Okay, you say that now, but like you just said, you did cry.
No, I'm not debating that.
Okay.
I'm not strong enough to not cry and be like, yes, I 100% do agree that I should not be crying because it is selfish. But what I'm saying is that the idea of crying is like, this person is now in a better place. Like, they're not.
But you can still cry happy tears.
Yeah.
You know, you
Tears
can
of
still
My
be
tears
like,
were
I'm
happy.
so.
I guess I have to get there because my tears were
Yeah.
not happy this week. I was
Nah,
mad.
she got a point. Tears of
It's-
joy is also something that people consider because you are, like you said, your family automatically believes that they're going to heaven. Okay, yes, they're going to be with the good Lord that I believe in, somebody, the being that means the world to me.
The interesting thing though this week is that where I caught myself crying after when I initially got the news, where I caught myself crying was thinking about how it affected the people around me. Yo, so we have to, edit because I broke down. I'm just not.
You're not about to play with death, brother. Like,
It's okay, keep going though. It's like our thoughts aren't that powerful. Where it's like joking about death, we're gonna like end up somewhere bad, whatever. But
Did
what I was
you
saying-
did you just say our thoughts aren't that powerful?
Yeah, I was about to say that's really hard, actually.
Manifestation?
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
That's been my whole year this year.
Right.
But
He's speaking about
our
himself.
spirit in
Yeah.
joking, knowing that when my intentions are knowing that I'm joking and I'm like,
No, we get you. But you're just
Yeah.
like,
you know,
they actually are.
in the spirit I'm joking. But
Anywho.
what I was saying was that I caught myself crying. After I cried for myself the first day, I caught myself crying more because of what he meant to the people around me. Like the connection, the reason that I know him is through two other people. You know what I mean? So I caught myself crying because of them, because it was like, fuck him cutting my hair. Like, damn, this is their man. Do you feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he was my man too. He gave me advice, like I mentioned, but it was like outside of me because I found myself selfish. He had great value, but outside of me doing some business with him and him cutting my hair, that was it. Like I didn't check on him. How was your day today? When I got in the chair, how was your day today, Craig? But outside of that, I was like, whatever. So I wanted to leave that question into asking the panel, because whoever wants to answer, where it's like, have you ever had to be there for someone who was close to you that lost someone close to them? And if anybody wants to take that, and how you handled helping someone more, not mourning yourself.
I had majority of my adult experiences have been a family member losing someone else. The most prevalent one was a couple of years ago. We had to fly back to Haiti because my dad's brother-in-law passed away. and so that was like his father figure, because he's one out of 7 people. So the oldest sister is the one that got married to him when they were young, probably in his 15, 16 years old. So this guy, because getting into a lot, but my father's father was assassinated when he was younger.
Sorry to hear that.
It's not a stupid question, but like, what makes it an assassination and not like a killing? Like, was he like a figure? Like, what makes it
Because
one
he was
and not the
a
other?
good guy in the neighborhood, and then it was a coworker that thought he took something from him. So he said, "I'm going to specifically. I know where you are. I know where you live. I'm going to come out of
Gotcha.
my way to do whatever."
Come and make this happen.
Yeah, because there wasn't any like great healthcare or being able to come from the mountains, because where my parents come from, my father comes from, it's an actual town named after our family.
After y'all's family.
Mhm.
That's what's up.
So up in the mountains, you can't really get to the healthcare areas that you need to. So he was basically in the street while people were yelling and trying to get aid to him. So my aunt was dating this guy at the time. They married, and he became the father figure for everyone. So helping them get through school, helping them get their way. So he lost not just a brother-in-law, but he lost his one and only father figure, since his actual father passed away when he was younger.
What was the flight like there? Like,
What was tense, because I know that I wanted to be there because I didn't want him to be by himself. And my father's a very strong person, so I've never seen him cry. You see him get upset at little things, or if we're not behaving properly or something happens wrong, he'll get, the Haitian typical father, he'll get upset, but never crying, never deep in emotions, because he's the man of the family. He has to act a certain way. He feels he has to act a certain way. So to grow up with 30 years having him be that way, and then go there, you can kind of sense, and I'm kind of sensitive to people's feelings and emotions, so you can see that there was something coming off of him, that he was feeling uneasy about going there. One, he hasn't seen that side of his family for like going on 10 years, and then the reason why we're going. And then to see him break down while we were there was a whole nother experience. Because seeing like the strongest person my first love, father, everything, him being emotional, him crying, it's like, I want to take this pain away from you, because I don't want to see you this way. It hurts me to see you that way. And the only thing you could do is just me, called out of work, told him, family member passed away, I can't be here. I don't care what you say to me, I need this 3-day weekend to go, and we come back. So I was there with my cousin. You need something to eat? I got you, you're here. Sleep on this bed, I'll rather sleep on the couch, because we stayed at a cousin's house. So just doing whatever they need you to do at the moment. There's nothing that I can say. You can't bring the person back. But just holding his hand while he's crying in the church, just being there, so physically he knows that someone's with him.
That support system.
Yeah.
Even if it's the small things, I think that counts a whole lot.
And that he appreciated more than me even saying anything. Because for one, I might not ever know what to say, but I will physically be there for someone, whoever needs me. So I feel like that's more than anything you can do. Especially with not knowing what to do in a situation like that.
What about you, Mark?
I think in that situation, like the one that you kind of presented, I harp on my father me losing my grandmother, and my father kind of like not breaking down in front of us. He teared up, but he didn't like weep. He didn't like kind of like just drop to the floor. He didn't do anything too dramatic. It was kind of awkward, because I'm just like, she was the only one, because your father slipped out on you. So I'm surprised that he didn't kind of like just completely break down. But for me, I was younger, so in that space, in that respects, for me, what was important, even though I was younger, is just like, of course, being there for your family, and your the one who's kind of taking the hardest, and of course, the key thing about that moment is who you are as a person. If they can lean on you because you're a solid individual, that's key. Like if you kind of shy away from that moment, that'll kind of put them in a bad space, because they need you, and they need to rely on you in order to kind of get over their stress and trauma and experience. And of course, kind of think about everything they went through, but understand that they can either speak to you, they can lean on your shoulder, they can cry to you, they can kind of give you advice that person gave you, like continue to live through that person who passed away, through you, if they can, so that's very interesting. That was my experience with the death.
How old were you at this time?
I had to be around 16.
And if you don't mind me asking, how old were you at the time as well?
So 4 years ago. So I was turning 27 or turning 28. Having the weekend of my birthday. That's the only reason why I remember vividly.
So, with you being that age, do you feel like there's a big difference between you and him? Do you feel like, because I was gonna say at that age you have to be somewhat strong to be able to handle like with an adult, and you being already an adult, do you feel like there's a difference in there, or is it the same feeling no matter what?
I feel like it's a similar feeling. Like death is death, and you being for someone who's like who can be your rock.
Regardless.
You can't really prepare for that. So of course, me being older and knowing that I'm there for a reason and to be strong for him.
Yeah.
So it made me not be emotional until like I literally turned around, saw his face, and he was bawling, and I was like, okay, I need to go to the bathroom so I can bawl because I can't physically see this right now, but I'm gonna come right back. And it's like, okay, you need something, kind of a thing. But
who dealt with that little thing that come in your neck?
When it
hard.
gets swelled up.
Ooh, that shit hurt. You
that
be
shit's
there.
can't cry no more.
Yeah, that shit. Yeah.
But that happens
That's
from
exactly
suppressing it, which is
Yeah.
why you gotta let it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, similar to your experience, Jessica, I was 10 years old when my father's father passed. And I actually had never heard of him before. Like never, like my father never spoke of him, and I didn't realize how close they were until his father got on crack. So when we went down to Miami, that's where, you know, a lot of my father's family is from. Seeing him break down, it was much like you, but I mean, I'm 10.
Yeah.
So I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, I hadn't, like you said, I've never seen, and then even since that point, I had never seen my dad, I still have never seen my dad cry other than at his funeral. And so along that entire weekend, I learned how to cook, I learned how to clean. I was, you know, my great aunts, they didn't even realize that he had passed, that my grandfather had passed until they walked into the funeral. They were like, no, you guys are lying. Like, you know, they walked in and passed out. So to be 10 years old, I feel like, you know, like going back to the question that you asked about the age difference. I mean, being 10 and being, you know, almost 30, it's when you see somebody in need, I feel like whether it's a friend or, you know, somebody as close as your father to you, like you said, you know, my dad's my first love, my best friend. You always want to put like your best foot forward. You always want to, you know, show up with like a smile on your face, you know. And I mean, there's literally nothing, like you said, nothing that you can say to them. I just came over to him and like sat on his lap and let him cry, like, you know, on me, you know.
You know, it's funny. It's funny because all three of you guys mentioned your dads, and it's so funny because you're saying that you guys never seen him cry and everything, because these are the kings of your world. You know what I mean? It's funny. Well, it's not funny in that sense, but I mean, to see the strongest person you know break down has to be the toughest thing you can go through in life, because you feel like, damn, I gotta go to you for that protection, for that guidance, for that strength. So how am I even gonna, you know, be that help? But then again, in their eyes, you're the best thing they have. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, and that's when I realized that. Like my dad would always be like, "Oh, you're my princess," and you know, like I didn't realize like how much his kids really meant to him until that moment. Until he was like, "Thank you so much for being strong." I was like, "What are you talking about? Like I'm just here." Like
the best you know, like of course I would. Like you don't have to. Like I would not.
For me, it's so weird listening to you guys talk. I thought of another experience that I had when I was like a younger kid, and my great grandmother had died. And I didn't really know I was a kid. I knew she made jello for me and really good baked mac and cheese. That's all I really remember. But I was like a little kid, and I remember like the day that they found out she died. I like walked into the house, and everyone was just like sitting on the floor, and it was like really quiet. And I'm a really energetic kid, so I'm like trying to play around, and everyone's just like sitting there like, you're not right now. And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, yo, my dad has a tattoo. He's like, well, this grandma died. And I was like, damn. And I wasn't of service. I just like sat there and just like followed along. Everyone was just like quiet, and I was just like and it was like really hard for me, and I was just like,
But that probably meant like so much to them that you just shut the fuck up and just sat your ass down.
We waiting on that.
And like it's so weird because like I was there for my dad last year because his mother had died and my grandmother. I was a piece of shit grandson because I have a grandmother that I grew up with, and then she was like the other side grandma because she lived in Maryland. So I was a piece of shit grandson. So she wasn't that close to me. I cried because it was like damn, but it was like again for my dad. And I never forget, like, we was all the way to the funeral. My dad was driving. My mother went down to Maryland and everything. And we was in the car. He like, yo, we not going to cry because, you know, Grandma, she wouldn't have wanted that. Like, we good. Mm-hmm. We get to the funeral. We sit in the front. And I'm sitting next to him. And as soon as the pianist, which was our friend, started playing, like, I believe I could. Like, my dad, like, lost it. And it was like.
To R. Kelly?
yo, that is crazy.
He's asking the question.
Yo, you lost his mom, man.
This was before we knew.
Yeah. We knew all along. We knew the whole time. The whole time told us months ago.
Don't shout out to R. Kelly.
Yo, listen.
Don't do it.
Now he was about to do that.
Don't do that.
Now R. Kelly got a segment in our show, man. See?
Shout out to Mix
weird.
You know what?
Alright.
My fault.
Alright.
So listen. So he lost it to R. Kelly. Which is
Lost what? Lost what? Let's clear that up right now. Lost what to R. Kelly? We gonna be real about this. I need to know.
Okay, so the piano started playing R. Kelly's and singing the.
Oh, okay.
I believe I could find my father like lost it, and it wasn't. I felt it like it was so weird because it was like slash comical slash like damn. Cause it was like my father's like charismatic like me, so we in a car like popping shit like I ain't gonna cry, you know, grandma won't want that. And then for him to like as soon as like I believe snapped on it, and just like damn, and I felt it for a second, and then as soon as we left, I looked at him and was like, come on, I thought you wasn't gonna cry, dog. What happened? And he like, yo, I lost my mom, man. That's how I feel. So I just was like myself, like as an adult, having someone being there for someone who's mourning. I was just there for him, man. I would just like talk to him and like try to keep his spirits up. And it's kind of weird because he lives in the same house that she died in, that she bought, and for the family and stuff. So he deals with it more than anyone. And he'd be like, he's a selfish guy. Yo, I lost my mom. Like he don't respect nobody else more than he's like, I lost my mom, not my brother lost his grandmother.
We can see it in you. You see that selfishness.
So it was like I have like a weird experience being there for somebody because it was like slash comical slash damn. And yeah, in that capacity, I've never really had to be there. My cousin lost his mom when I was a kid, so it was like, damn. And they like helped, they like hid it from me. So I didn't really get a chance to, you know.
I mean, me personally, I have two weird situations.
Yeah, we didn't ask you my bad.
I'm gonna throw it in there. Now I have two weird situations. One with the guy who's my mentor, but I actually call him my dad. He lost his. It's funny. He lost his mother, his son, and his father-in-law all in the same year.
Lost his son
2016.
How he lost his son?
He lost his son. I think it actually was natural causes. His mother of old age and his father-in-law of old age, and like it was in a matter of months. And he just went through something traumatic with his job too, which kind of forced him to retire. I just did an interview with him as well. That'll come out soon. But that was hard because this is in Philly. I met him here though, so it's like I'm traveling back. But yeah, Kev actually died right. I traveled in 3 different funerals for people I've never even met before. But this guy was so much of an effect on my life. I had no choice. I had to do this. Like he didn't even ask. I was just there from.
And traveling to Philly is crazy. Like that's like.
Yeah, and here you see somebody. Now this is a guy who's had a hell of a life. You know what I'm saying? Like through the prison experience and everything. So when you guys say the strongest guy, this is how I'm looking at him. I even call him my dad, and it's not even my biological father. When I seen him cry, that was one of the I don't know how to say one of the worst feelings I've experienced in my life. To see somebody who's so happy all the time, who's engaged in making everybody else happy. When I seen him break down, I even broke down. And like I said, I don't even know these people that passed. I just know him. But it's the effect that person has on you is crazy. But what I would do is, even till now, I still go see him. I still travel. However far I have to go to, visit him, call him all the time. We interact a lot on social media, so that's my way of helping somebody who's going through that, making sure that they know somebody else cares. You know what I mean? Just even if it's like a random day, you just give a Wednesday, you just give a phone call.
I have a question for you, and because you mentioned that you've had a lot of people like die around you, are you afraid of death?
As I mentioned before, no. I like I said, I try to live life to the fullest. I try to make every day worth it, but I don't think I'm afraid of death, honestly. Because I know it's gonna happen. We weren't meant to be here forever. You know what I mean? So I try to make the best of every minute of every day. And if I gotta go, at least I want to go out with people saying, well, at least he was a good guy. He was fun to be around. He was somebody I can talk to, somebody I can relate to. And I just try to be good to people because at the end of the day, that's all we got in this world.
Yeah, I just want a good Instagram caption too when I die.
Yeah.
I want Real to shout me out too, bro.
Back to the gram, but you didn't want anybody to
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad you caught that.
is anyone afraid of death? Is anyone like, damn?
I am.
I'm afraid of suffering.
You are? Okay.
But it goes, not necessarily my own, but for a while, because I have anxiety. So for a while, after that experience, actually, I went through months of being fearful for my parents passing. So I would always be anxious that they were gonna pass, and not knowing when they're gonna pass freaked me out. And for months, and my mom to this day, like, she'll joke, cause they're in the age where they can retire and things like that, and like they think about their future and our future. They was like, you know what? Cause I'm not gonna be here forever. I'm like, why are you saying it so lightly? I don't appreciate it. And I was like, stop talking. He's like, yeah, cause we're gonna retire and we're gonna have the house, and you guys are gonna have the house. I'm like, you guys are still here. Can we not talk about us but getting the house from you? So it's a weird thing, and because of the anxiety, it's like I'll just wake up in a panic, like, what would I do if my parents aren't gonna be there? What would I do if I don't have that emotional system? And of course I have my man, but it's like, it's different when it's your parents and that's all you've had, and it's been my mom, my dad, me, and my 3 siblings. We've been like this one unit. So if something were to happen to any one of them, it just freaks me out.
The unit ain't the same.
Yeah. So I would feel like I wouldn't be the same person if something were to happen to them. But I know they would want us to keep going, but it's like, I'm afraid to not have you. So I do this weird thing where it's like, I have to let you know that, which stems from why I tell the last episode we talking about I have to tell people I love them and stuff. Because I'm like, I want you to know that. And like my dad will go out and like, oh, I'm gonna go see my brother. He'll drive to Connecticut to go see his brother. And I'm like, okay, but I love you. And I'll give him like an extra tight squeeze. And I've been doing that for a while just because I need you to know that. So God forbid something happens, at least I know I told you, and I know that you know. Because you hear stories, people like, I wish I would have said this.
Yeah.
I wish they didn't pass before I got to tell them I love them. Or they know that I was successful, or they know that I'm okay. So I want, especially my close family, to know I will be okay no matter what, and you guys are good, kind of thing. So it's a weird situation to have, but
I like how you
trying
said
to get out of
that. That last moment is meaningful.
Yeah.
Mhm. Each moment.
This is
Yeah,
crazy.
that's true too.
It's crazy because, like you said, each one is more like important because my mother, we'll get into a fight and then the next day I'll call and be like, yo, you just gonna let us fall asleep like that? Like, what happens if I would have died?
Exactly.
And my mother go,
Yeah.
motherfucker, I know I loved you, you alright. And I'm like,
Damn.
yo, what you mean? Yo, what you mean?
You know I love you different
Yeah,
times.
motherfucker.
Yeah,
She was like,
Thanks,
I
God,
don't
you did,
care.
baby.
I knew that I loved you and I did the best that I could with you. I'm on the phone like, thank you.
Yeah.
You be, it's like Elmo with the head explosion like, damn, you is right. You knew that you didn't love me.
Niggas die every day, G.
Yeah.
That's how she looking at it.
Yeah.
Paid in full part 2.
That's that hard.
Big mom. What about you, Wayne?
Street.
You afraid of death?
Yeah, to be honest, because I know there's a bunch of stuff that I haven't accomplished, whether it be with my family, whether it be material-wise, like financially, just kind of setting up people in the right direction. Because my goal in life is actually to set other individuals up in the right direction. You know.
Let me ask you this: who's to say that, right? Because it's funny. Yesterday at the festival I was at, I had wrote, like, you know, the Lance is going to air. So what I did was I wrote to the people that had passed in my life, right? But along that paragraph or so that I wrote, I said that I don't know what God was trying to teach me, but what I did get out of it, that you guys accomplished your mission. And maybe the person's, you know, reason for dying could have touched somebody else. What were we saying about in the car? You know, somebody else's experiences is the best teachers. So that person may have died, and whatever you may have learned from them, or as many people as they may have touched, may have been their mission in life. So you can't say, well, I'm not saying what you can say, but I kind of don't agree with saying that you don't accomplish all your goals. I get what you mean, like, it's things that you want to do, but this could be a goal right here, having this conversation and touching the viewers that's watching. You know what I'm saying? I think we got to stop looking at the broad scale and start focusing on the minuscule things because that's what's important. Like us being here, even having
I
this type of
agree with that
conversation.
because it's more of a like, death is like, when you die, it's necessary and it's part of the grand scheme of things. So it's bigger than you just dying because, like you mentioned, when that person died, their mission was done.
Yeah.
So, like when Craig died, it was like I was meant to see him 2 days before he died twice. I never see Craig twice in a day. I seen him twice that day and everything. So it was like, it's necessary and it's all a part of the plan. And it's like when a person dies, it touches you in a certain way, you're inspired in a certain way, like it does for others around them. And we go through all the deaths that we go through, we're put in all the situations that we're put in because it is necessary and that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
So if you die and you die with
$0,
100,000 or you die with $0, it was all necessary because maybe your cousin or your brother or whoever picks up your bank account like, then he has zero, I'ma never die like that. And then take that and run with it. So you don't know how your death will affect the people around you when it's, you don't know how necessary your death was, you know, in that aspect.
What about you, Damo?
What was the question?
Are you afraid of death?
No. I'm not afraid only because I'm afraid of the suffering. Like if I were to like suffer, like feel like getting lit on fire and like having to like sit through that shit. Dry.
No,
Like,
it's real. It's real.
Like, I'm afraid of that. Like, feel like, oh my god, like please, like open up a window, like
you watching yourself die.
Right, exactly. Like you can't do nothing, or like being alone while it happened and just
like you choking and you
right,
or like you get shot and you're just there, and just like
right,
the
you
fuck,
like shit,
you helpless.
yeah.
You watching the
Believe me,
blood,
like,
you like
yeah.
I thought it'd be quicker than this.
Exactly. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of actually dying, leaving this earth.
So if it was quick, you'd be good.
If it was
Because
quick, I'd be
blow
good.
up,
If it was
it's
my
good.
sleep, I'd be good.
Death is the only
But-
thing that's guaranteed.
Right.
Like we know we have to die, so that's why I feel like people shouldn't be afraid of it,
Right.
because we know it's going to happen. Like,
But like
And
Rennie's
also-
perspective is important though.
so back after a brief intermission, Malik bought it, but a question that I wanted to ask is, do you guys think of death often? Is this something like you constantly think about at all?
I think about like, I wouldn't say cool ways to die, but it's like, could
What?
where do y'all go? I had
No, start that and then I'll continue. I need to get this train of
like
thought.
I'll be like, yo, is my death gonna be epic? Like I gotta go out like a real man. I can't go out on no sucker shit. I can't go out on no sucker shit. Yo, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm
You
saying.
want to die like
Like, that's what I be
Chloe
saying.
and Citadel?
Like when people,
Right.
I'm gonna tell you like this, right? Look.
Cleo said
Cleo,
right.
right.
Yeah.
So when people be like, yo,
Yeah, she got up.
when people be like, yo, don't like, not that I'm, this is a hypothetical. When people be like, yo, don't eat off the floor, right? And they'll pick up a french fry and I eat it. My thought process is like, yo, my life been too real and too epic for God to set my death up like this. To die off of a bad french fry.
Rule.
Yeah, like that's some bullshit. Like I eat a french fry and I die. Like that's some bullshit. So I always think about like if I gotta go out real, like
So are you gonna plan your death so it becomes epic? That's
Yeah.
that's
like off the building like this.
Like I said, I'm over it. Like,
I just that's the capacity I think of it. Like, am I gonna go like a real one?
What?
I want a real Instagram post, y'all. Like I want y'all to be
We gonna
like,
help
yo,
you with the
this is
Instagram post.
good.
We gonna
I'm gonna be dead though. I'm
Do
gonna try
we
to
know
write
that-
about
Define.
it.
No, yeah, we gonna
wait. Define real one though. Like define.
That's
going
what I
out
would-
there.
I'm
You
saying,
go
like-
and set it off.
Okay.
You really want to go like that? That hurt.
I feel bad.
And she was trying to keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? She was keeping it moving.
So not that it's just like
You talking about legacy?
He just wants the next person out.
Yeah.
That's
No.
Let me
That's
ask you this.
ego.
Let me ask you this.
No.
Do you consider Paul Walker a legacy? Because he died doing something that we know him of, right?
well we know him.
But that was also
actor.
something that he loved to do.
And they said like,
So I think that's a better definition of legacy rather than what we know him for. We know Malik for being a jackass, but we don't want him to die like that.
I'm gonna die a real one. No, so yeah, my legacy. That's what I'm thinking.
How many people does an individual affect?
That's different than the way of you dying.
It depends on.
I don't want to die like on some sucker shit though, eating a bad
You could
French
die
fry.
as a sucker and still leave a legacy. There's two separate
That's
things.
what I'm saying. But that's what I'm
He
saying.
loves some French fries.
Exactly.
I got a piece of
They're
that.
not gonna tell you you died from a French fry. They're gonna be like, oh,
I
you
want
live this otherworldly life.
Like my story can't be like the nigga died eating French fry. Like that's cool. Like that's some whack shit. Like
But
if
your
I'm at a
legacy-
funeral,
if you died in
but
your
they
sleep,
like,
you eat the French fry
yo,
though.
he died. He ate a bad. Oh, he took a fall at the job. I'm gonna be like, I'm bitch ass nigga. B. Yo,
but that's not what your legacy is.
I'm
Your
coming
legacy is
back.
what you did
That's
in
what I'm
life.
saying. Legacy is a piece of
Like
it,
shit.
but I also don't want to go out trash. So legacy is important to me.
But let me
But
ask
if
you
he
this.
take a fall at the job and niggas come like, yo, Pete, we lost Peter, I'm like, yo, that nigga fell and died. Really?
So there is a such thing as trash death.
Yeah, trash death. Yeah,
Oh, it's not just death.
niggas have whack deaths. B.
Okay, all right.
That's
Let-
insensitive.
let-
We're gonna
So
get flack
insane
for
that
that.
I can't even.
We're gonna get flack for that. I'm sorry.
No, you're gonna get back. But it's not a we thing.
When
You
you're
die,
with
you
friends.
Nah, but did anybody else? Do you guys think of death walking at all?
I don't ever think of that.
Let me ask you this: but do you feel that it should be more of a conversation about that?
I think it could be, but I don't really think it's like as pressing as the conversation about life and how to live your life. I feel like death should be like kind of like
It's the inevitable.
yeah, it's inevitable and that's that.
I remember I was listening to a song, right, and the guy was describing somebody dying amongst him in his life, and he was saying how it was a 2 or 3 year old at the funeral. You know, he wasn't crying. Of course, he doesn't know what's going on. And the line was, "How can I explain death when you don't understand life?"
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that both should be within the conversation?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think you can even have a conversation about death if you don't have a conversation about life.
Yeah.
And I feel like people that have more conversations about death, like, oh, you know, like, death is a part of life and blah, 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 but they don't have, like, a conversation about how you should live your life or the steps you should take to fulfill your life and live the best life you could possibly live is counterproductive.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're burying their fucking casket right there.
Yeah, they're waiting for it. That's
Right.
They're living their life to wait for death.
Right.
Versus living and then the inevitable will happen when it happens.
Right.
Whether it's a dope death or, you know,
Right,
a
or a
trash
whack
death, you know what I mean? What about you, Wayne?
Once again, I lean on influence. Influence is key for me. Like, cool. When I pass away, you know, like God forbid I pass away tomorrow, my nephew gonna get some bread. He gonna be solid. Whatever school he wanna go to, whatever he wanna do with the money, he's gonna be good, and it's gonna allow him to move forward in the direction that he needs to move forward towards.
So your concern is taking care of those
Who I care about.
Who are dependent upon you or just around you?
But my whole thing, it's not even about that. It's just the influence. How can I influence individuals to get that leg up? You feel me? The leg that I didn't have. You feel me? Because once again, if I do pass, I want people to benefit from it. Number one. Number two, if you know when I do pass, I want them to have the opportunities to take advantage of opportunities I didn't have the opportunity to take advantage of, because it may be financial. Shit, 9 times out of 10, shit, we wouldn't be doing this shit right now if he didn't buy all this goddamn equipment. Feel me? So blessed to him and having the opportunity to buy this equipment, but that shit boiled down to money, and that's why we here today.
So the thing about that is that like my grandmother died and left my father 40,000, and 365 days later he has no money. So it's like I think
Yeah.
I know that's a spicy take, but it's facts.
Yeah.
I love you, pops, but I had to keep it a stack.
Woo,
So, but it's like
even though you ain't got a stack. Just make that clear. Just make that clear. Sorry, Bob.
yo, that was the moment. But so I feel like but we would rather Wayne here, you know, like in that capacity.
And also, like you said, like had maybe you during this life taught your nephew
How to deal with
about how to
money,
deal
finances,
with money,
and
finance, exactly. Then that could also just be like, okay, well now I've left you some money now that I passed, but now I know for a fact you're gonna be good because you don't know what he's gonna do with that money.
It goes
You
back
know,
to
God
that saying,
forbid,
you
once
know,
again.
you lead somebody to water, you can could teach them,
Right.
rather than just leave it for them. Because a
Teach
person.
them how to fish.
We just spoke
giving
about
him
this.
a bit,
You know what I mean? We literally just spoke about this with my boy. You know what I'm saying? The family could leave you whatever. You could fumble it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Now what? They don't learn the lesson. So, but like what she's saying is right. You gotta teach these people the process so they can be able to engage in this information and focus on it and someone.
And that's what you be scared about when you die, cause you be like, yo, if you didn't get the lesson, it's quiet.
Yeah, but you like you said,
But
you
you did
focus
your
on your
part.
uncle. I mean your nephew already being set.
Yeah.
Now, while you're setting him up, are you teaching him the lesson as well?
How to set himself and how to set the people after him.
Yeah, line it
That
up.
would be good.
Yo, did y'all know in a will, y'all can have like
The situation.
contingents?
Yeah.
Yo, my mother told me that the other day. She was like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
You see all the rich
You'll
people, that's
be
what they
good
do. It's like you
if-
have to marry this person and you have to make this before you even get
Yep.
a half of your
Yeah, my
inheritance.
shit is
Yep.
on my mom. It's like I gotta graduate college and then I gotta graduate law school and then I'm good.
So you gotta
Right.
hit law
But
school.
outside of that,
you gotta hit law school.
it's quiet for me.
Oh,
It's
so-
all go to cancer research.
So you trying to tell me if you don't fulfill those?
It's
You
quiet.
get
Money go to
funded.
cancer research.
Yeah.
Release, bond, everything goes.
Immediately.
That's actually a good lesson.
Not immediately, but I have to.
It's
In
a-
order
it's
for me
a
to ever
have-
touch
yeah.
it, if I die and never complete those
He has to
things,
show that law degree.
Nah, but that's actually what's up. She's pushing you to.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Sure.
she don't leave it up
But
to
she's
chance.
also teaching him how to live life.
Without.
Right. With those
Yeah.
contingencies, she's teaching him how to live life. I
Because you'll
want
have
you
a
to.
degree to do something for your own, but then you'll have mine as cushion.
And like she tell me, ain't no come up in my.
And I know you,
Yep.
my nigga. Don't be out here falsifying your degrees. And shit. Don't do shit like that. Don't forge documents.
Word doc?
Word, exactly. I know you, man.
All that shit look the same. baby. All that shit look the same.
Now you really gotta go to law school to like. Really,
Because it's something I want to outside of the money. But yeah,
do you really want to go to law school?
100%.
Oh,
That's
okay.
my
I
other
thought
thing.
she-
Was
I
like,
thought she
if you
felt
didn't,
drunk.
then that, yeah.
Man, better go to this law school, man. You're gonna be dead.
That's the other thing. Like, with my parents growing older, we're in the conversations of, okay, this is what you get. This is what this person. I'm like, no, don't. You're still here. I don't want to hear it. But it's like you kind of have to because
Yeah.
now I'm 30. My other brother's 33. Like we're going to be the adults now, taking care of their
Mhm.
affairs.
Mhm.
So it's like I need you to know this and this when I retire. This and this. This is where this is coming from. This is where this bank account. So it's like
Yeah.
one hand I don't want to hear any of it, but other hand I have to be like half ear open. Okay, I know where everything is if need be. Okay,
Yeah.
but we talked about this all day. I don't want to hear about it.
And
anymore.
that's
Like,
so important because if you don't know any of that stuff, I know so many people whose family members who have parents have died and they've been like, oh, like I was supposed to be power of attorney, but never happened. And now all that money is just gone. They don't have a
Yeah.
will, they don't have anything. All that money is just like up for grabs
Mhm.
for the government or whomever. So it's really important that, that we aren't afraid of death, that
Yeah.
we aren't afraid to really like face the
And have
facts
the
of
conversation.
and have that conversation.
Because you
you know,
gotta know
'cause-
where all the offshore accounts are.
Absolutely.
I feel like you're the most dependent one. I mean, I don't know your brothers and sisters, but I feel like for some reason, every time you speak about your parents, I really feel like they depend on you a lot.
it's everybody has their things. When it comes to stuff like that, I'm the one who was like, I'll go with you here because I'm the more active one. Where it's
Yeah.
like, we can go. Let's go to the office. I can do this paperwork. We got it done. So each child has their own thing, but then we come together. Okay, I took mom here. This is what this information is. So we all trickle the information. So if I'm not there, the next person will be there.
No, but you're very organized, and I can tell with that.
I have to be because my anxiety mind. If it's not, it's gonna bother me.
Yeah, that's real. The last question of today, I would like to ask. Do you like? What's the question?
Yo, that happened to me.
Is there
that's
anything
Think
worth
after
dying
death.
for?
Yes, it is.
Yo, that's crazy. Is there anything worth dying for?
Can I all show y'all the way
The way
I'm
to
dying?
Oh, what?
Wait, what?
Wait, what happened?
Roll up now.
Wait.
You about to download the app? The
No,
movie
no,
shit.
no. Because my man sent this in the chat yesterday. I'm like, why the fuck did you send that? So, I'm gonna show every one of y'all.
I don't. Wait. Can we preface this so we know what? I don't
Yeah, I
know
wanna know
what
what's
I'm
going on right now.
I'm about to look at it.
Yeah.
Front, my nigga. If you tell me I'm dying in like 6 days, yeah, I ain't feeling
We're not
it.
on the ring situation.
Don't sign me up for that. I'm gonna look at it.
But listen, look, I'm gonna show y'all two and I'm gonna show y'all two.
Show them first.
No, I don't want to see that shit.
No.
Some movie Truth or Dare, I don't want to see that shit, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but at the end of the day,
Then keep it to
Can
yourself.
you
What's
describe
is
what
it-
it is?
at the end of the day, foundation. I just want y'all to have a foundation of what's dying for.
I'm good.
I don't.
Like for real, because
I
you
don't
say
know.
dying. Like, don't tell me about it. No, like,
No.
you getting an injection and you dying. No, you dying. Like you're not
It's a
here.
video of someone passing away.
Somebody dying.
Nah, we ain't trying to see that shit.
Same thing.
No.
It's the same thing.
No, I'm sorry. I can't.
Alright,
Yeah,
no
I
problem.
cannot. I
No
cannot.
problem.
I'm scared. You know,
Yeah,
so it's
no.
like someone
Is he dying for something though?
Are you
Why
ready?
did they?
No,
I was
no,
just
no.
saying,
No,
describe
why
it
did
to
they send you a video
I
of
don't
someone
even. It's in
dying?
the chat. You know, you niggas.
What you mean?
No, that's not something you casually
I'm in
send
the
in
chat. Ain't nobody else dying in my chat.
On the flip side though, when my godbrother died, they took a picture of him, his dead body in the street, and that shit kind of surfaced online too.
Come on, like.
Now, it wasn't the act of it, but he was already gone. But it's like people are so intrigued with showing this shit. Like,
Yeah,
Also,
That's
they're
what-
sensitized to it now. Where
Yeah.
I don't want to
Absolutely.
see that.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is like, cool. We've in society, we've seen so many deaths, so many shit happen on fucking. Let's look at it right now and say, is it worth dying for?
No, but my thing is the death has nothing to do with that.
No,
Like,
the action of it.
Yeah, but I'm saying we talking about something worth dying for. Like me
It looked like a
personally.
motorcycle. Did somebody pop a wheelie and they died from popping a wheelie?
You
or
saw the
something like that?
motorcycle? I
I just
didn't
saw the
see
motorcycle,
shit.
like a handlebar.
It's like to me, by my kids. If my daughter
You
is
got kids?
No,
No.
I ain't got kids.
You got offshore accounts, you got
I
offshore
don't
Lee, I got you in the present.
I don't have no offshore accounts, okay? I'm working my
Not
way
yet.
out.
Not yet. Talk to mom and dad.
I'm working my way.
I'm working it out.
Nah, but if I have a daughter and you know something happened to her in regards to like a guy violating her, like I'm talking about the ultimate disrespect, and I feel like I gotta do something to him and you know something is tragically done to me and I die for it, I'm
Willing
going
to go that
Yeah, I'm willing to
extra
go
mile.
that route. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Whether it be a daughter or a son, let me get that clear. But that's what I mean when you say, is there something worth dying for? My kids, my family, especially my immediate family, my best friends.
Yep.
If something
How
happens to
many
them,
people on that list though? Cause my list is maybe like 2-3 deep. Your list sound.
I don't get it.
My list goes at least maybe like 10 people.
Yeah, I was about to say, I got a good
I got a
set.
good, but I mean, I also have a big family.
I have a really big family.
Yeah, that's
too
I have
much.
4 brothers alone.
Yeah.
My mother, my father, my nephew. I'm gonna have to think of some other people, but that's
Yeah.
7 people right there.
I'm saying you got your
And I know my
your
best
mom, your
friend
dad,
and,
your baby
you know,
father.
I would die for my dad. He lived a good 55. He good.
Your baby father.
But I feel like
You don't run with that.
Oh yeah. Remember, we forgot he had a big father, right?
He good.
Even my mom, maybe my mom lived 50 joints. Like, how old am I? You know what I mean? Like, it's all
No,
perspective.
because to be honest, your mother be like, yo,
She
kill
got
me.
55 joints.
Your
What am I
mother
dying
said, kill
for?
me before kill my son.
I'll be
Yeah.
sad without
My
you,
mother
but
said
and also that goes back to the selfish thing, because a lot of times you'll be like, oh, like I need to like hurry up and do this to save you, but then meanwhile you're leaving them with more suffering than
Yeah.
they would have ever endured.
That's true. Very true.
However, that is not to say that I wouldn't, that I haven't. So upstate is where I'm from. Me and my 4 brothers, we've grown up there.
Mhm.
There are a lot of predators up there,
Really?
as you may have heard like stories. But there's like apps that you can see like who is around or whatever. And there was one particular day that there was like a van. It wasn't even a particular day. It was like it went on for like a week. It was like a white van that would just come up through our dead end road and circle the block, come back
Shut
down.
that shit up.
And my parents at the time, this was like a weird time where like my mom was usually like a stay at home mom, but this was like a weird time where it was like the holidays and she was like, oh, I'm gonna pick up a small job or whatever, a part-time job. And the van comes up and my brothers go up to the van because they're like, we're missing a cat and I'm so sorry. Could you come help us find the cat? They were like, oh my God, we found a cat, nigga. We was up the street, like we was riding our bikes. Yeah, we'll take you to that shit. And I remember they went up the block. They circled back down, and I remember seeing them in that shit. And I don't know who the fuck it was, but as I told you, Wayne, I play softball. All my brothers play baseball. Got a bat, and I chased that shit. And I threw the bats. I was throwing the bats at the shit, and they got out of the van. Of course, I guess the van, like the predators weren't like super savvy on like child lock and shit like that. But they were basically like, he didn't have anything in his van. Like, they just thought that they were going to go help him find this pet. Never saw the van again. Never had any flyers about the shit. Never gave them their name or anything like that.
Luckily, you was
And
dead.
that's for something like there was nothing in me that was like,
It's
damn,
take
like
action,
I
let's go,
just
yeah.
yo, if that nigga got a gun, I'm with it. Let's go.
Yeah.
You dodge bullets, Theo?
I can't dodge.
You're not
a
thinking
bullet.
about that in the moment.
I
You're like,
can't
my
dodge a
brothers
bullet,
are in the
but
van. I'm gonna get my
But
brothers.
if I get
yeah.
hit or something, you know,
Yeah,
like
I
we have an
understand.
older brother. He has
But
a
you
car.
a
I'ma call
distraction.
him.
Yeah, but you a distraction. So if he shoot you, he got out the van, and your brothers could think, oh, and then you was the sacrifice.
It didn't get
So
that
you're
far,
okay.
luckily.
But no,
it wasn't
yeah.
that far.
But like my mom and my dad, this is 55 apiece. I'm 24. Like I don't want to, I'm gonna put on for them.
But Malik, let's say you saw, God forbid, you saw Titi across the street from you.
And I'm jumping in front of a bullet. Yeah, cause I got a better chance to live. I'm a little younger.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I would.
So you would
risk
that's
it.
something that's worth dying for.
Yo, my nigga, what's wrong with you?
I would risk it. I got a better
You
chance.
different.
I'm a little more athletic than mine. You feel me? So
He got hops.
I could take it in the
Oh,
leg.
that's
You know?
Anybody else? There's something worth dying for. You know what I'm saying?
So my mother, I die for. She gonna see this episode. And we in her house. So I'm gonna be here next week. So yeah, mama, I love you. I'll die for you, mama. I swear.
What about you, Jess?
Let me say, like, if, like how Dominique said, if we were in a situation, I'm not thinking, I'm just, I need that person out of harm's way. I remember, like, the stupidest example of how I know that would happen is we were younger and I was taking my brother to, because I used to go to junior high school 2 blocks up. My younger brother went to elementary school right across the street, so I would have to take him home, like, literally cross the street to get into our apartment. So this, like, big kid came, like, threw a snowball in my brother's face. I turned red, I chased him down, I said, don't you ever touch my little brother. My brother started crying, was like, you're cursing at him. Because we couldn't curse, we couldn't do any of this sort. And I was upset, but I was like, you go blank, because it was like, that's my family, you cause them harm.
And you're his protector.
I'm gonna cause you harm. And of course, me being so sensitive, I call parents like, somebody threw a snowball at my brother, and I was cursing, I'm so sorry that I had to curse. It's like, it's fine.
But in that
You're
moment,
protecting him.
you're a whole different individual.
No holds barred.
Yeah.
I do it for anybody.
They have
In my close circle.
And that's what everybody needs to hear and needs to understand. When you're in a moment and this person you have an emotional attachment to, listen.
Primal
You
instinct.
got
You're
dogs,
irrational.
Yeah.
you got cats, you got fucking shit that you don't even think that's gonna jump in front of any issue.
Yeah.
And it'll jump in front of it. So you never know. You never fucking know what you're gonna do, how you gonna react to it. I think, like you said, you jumped in front of, you feel me? You could have overreacted. You could have punched a little kid in the face. You could have.
I was going to. I don't fight.
Yes,
Right, but it could have been a moment you like, fuck, I'm gonna punch him in his face.
Yeah.
I might throw him in front of him. You could have went nuts, like insane, but you blanked out. You said you blanked out, right?
No, I just flipped into gear. I was just like, he caused him harm.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go get him.
like I'm going to hurt him to stop him from hurting my brother.
Yeah.
Pretty much, and it could have went that far. Like people have
It
those
was like
switches.
11, so it wasn't gonna go that far.
We haven't seen this kid since.
You did? You did?
No, he ran down the block. Cause I started cursing at him, so he ran down the block.
Yeah, people have those switches, and that's the thing. Like you never know how far you'll go.
You know, it's funny.
Moment.
It's funny you say that because it sucks when like you hear about people killing somebody, but like you said, in that moment, you don't even know. They just flipped out. They just blacked out. But they got 40 years to think about that shit.
They said, I think it was, I know you hate when I reference rappers, but I think it was Nipsey that said, like, we have
Rest in peace, Nipsey.
us, I think you're talking about black people for the most part, or minorities, that we have a low tolerance for, like, disrespect. So if, like, we're disrespected, we'll, like, lose it all. And the idea that, like, if someone is, like, being disrespected that we love, that we don't, we're not rational, we're, like, irrational, like, punch them in the face, or, like,
There's
just.
been years of that, so it's like,
Exactly.
no holds barred.
Actually, me and Naj last week we had a conversation with a guy. He had did like I want to say like 27 years. Remember the example he was giving us when he was saying how like if a white guy, I mean he wasn't being specific about as far as race, but he was saying if somebody spit in your face and you have a gun on you, usually a black guy would just automatically just unload and just let it loose because you feel so disrespected. But what society tells you to do is you better go report that to a police officer. Now, how do you tell that to somebody who's ultimately disrespected? You know what I'm saying? Like you said,
And the loogie in your eye and shit.
but you know what I mean? Like we can't control ourselves in the moment. We black out. You literally. You
But we can control ourselves.
You can't
just
yeah,
have
control.
to
Yeah.
learn how
Discipline.
to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There's
okay.
certain
Yeah.
standards you would go to that you wouldn't cross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And that's why everybody shouldn't be given the opportunity to have a gun in front of them. Like, you know, you got certain individuals who get a gun, they get disrespected, and they feel some type of way, and they
Yeah.
Spin the block.
Yep.
I've been spin the block a couple
you
of
know,
times.
and that's not even cool. Like, that's the priority. You know, you got to make sure people
still
have the ability to.
He said he spent the block. He went to the store.
I went to
Let's make
both
it clear.
stores. The one they had when I needed
Let's make it clear. You know, once you get indicted, or somebody else is charged. But with that being said, we wrapping up today's episode of Understanding People, Dealing with Deaths. We're so glad to have Dominique join the cast today.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Wayne. Thanks for coming back.
And our host, Jess.
Yeah, make sure
The host.
The host. And Brother Malik, as always.
One fish, two fish. Red fish, blue fish. Rest in peace, Craig.
We out.
Yeah.